What's going on, guys? This is the debut episode of my interview series on my YouTube channel. My name is Liam Crowley, and I am a journalism student here at Newhouse at Syracuse University. Newhouse actually in the back of me right now. And this interview series I want to use as a facet to tell stories of people I admire, get to talk to people that I admire, personal heroes of mine. And this first interview is going to come with Ben Bateman. That's right, a Schmoedown legend, a champion in the Schmoedown, an entertainment host, an entertainment freelance journalist, a guy I've admired for years, a guy who I am proud to call one of my heroes and also proud to call one of my friends. I've been doing work for him and Andrew Guy in Action Industries for over a year now, and I had the opportunity way back in August to sit down and talk with him about his life, his career, the Schmoedown, and numerous other things. It's taken me a long time to get this footage correct, and it's taken me probably way too long to finally put it out to the public, but I am very excited to debut this first episode of my interview series. Episodes will be pretty infrequent, as I'm not guaranteed to get interviews all the time, but this one is one I am very proud of. The pilot episode officially here, Liam Crowley interview series, and it starts right now. Check it out. So I'm here with Ben Bateman. You've seen him on Popcorn Talk, you've seen him on Collider, you've seen him on the red carpets for movies such as Angels Fallen, which has recently come out. Big step for Action Industries. Speaking of Action Industries, that's essentially this guy's brand right here. How you doing?
Good, man. I'm good. This is exciting. You're underselling yourself as a part of Action Industries.
But it's still a great team. And speaking of Action Industries, first live show for I'd kind of put it under the Action Industries brand because I feel like a lot of the reason it was possible is kind of the rapid growth we've seen over the past 6 months. What did the live show on Thursday mean to you as a whole?
It's a big step. I think it's a big step. Obviously having been in LA and kind of doing the entertainment thing now for 10 years, being at a point where you can do a show across the country and actually have even like 3 people buy tickets is kind of a trip. And so to do it not as the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, but as our own thing, we were just going to go and just dick around on stage for effectively an hour, and to be able to fill the place up was exciting. Really, really like a huge step.
One thing for me that I really enjoyed was it wasn't a conventional show at the comedy club. It wasn't a stand-up routine. It was a little bit of everything. And then to have that kind of that following where everyone was doing their fist pump moments, their thesis statements, and they were also loving the action guys at the beginning. Felt like it was something really special because it shows that you have that audience that really knows what you're about, and it makes it, I feel, a bit more special. And also in that show, you perform some music. How's the transition done? Not so much a transition, but revisiting music again. As you mentioned, you did start your career very music heavy. So what's it been like exploring that once again?
Honestly, it's been really, really wonderful. It's been a huge change in my life recently that I've gotten to go through. When I was a lot younger, that was like a huge dream, right? I had like an album out and like a little bit of touring and played around LA. It was fun. I probably played 800 shows over a couple of years. And, I had just kind of like stopped doing it. I kind of let it go. But the interesting thing about it is like you hear that 10,000 hour theory, and you want to master or something. And by no means a master, but it was enough in me from that 10,000 hours, the 10 years of my life that did it, that it came back really fast. And, I was happy my voice was still somewhat intact, and, I got calluses back really fast. And I finally learning all these old hair metal ballads that I never learned back in the day, which is funny.
Right.
I'm not sure why I never learned those songs, but they're like a lot of my favorite songs. And so it's definitely meant a lot for me. Emotionally, it's been really, really nice. It's like connecting to a different part of my brain, right? Because I do what you do right here. I interview people. You got to use that intellectual part of your brain. The artistic part is different. It's like you're connecting from your heart instead of your brain. And so getting that back out was been great.
Yeah, absolutely. That transition, we're going to go back 10 years when you first started in LA. What was it like when you decided you're going to embrace the hosting aspect and kind of leave all you knew behind? Like the reason you came kind of shifting career paths, I think it's fair to say. Was that scary at all, or was that something that you were ready to go full steam ahead with?
So I was like 26 probably, 25, 26. 25, I think. And I'd gone through this big breakup, and I didn't really have any idea what I wanted to do with my life anymore. Music had kind of shifted for me. At that moment, I had gotten music back. I remember I just written a record, but it wasn't like, I'm going to do this as a career so much. And I think it was just kind of by luck. friend of mine worked at this company called Bite Size TV,
Right.
and I went and did a sports show that he was hosting called Sweat and Balls. I did an episode. I ended up doing a few episodes of that show, and we pitched the pilot right after that to them. And we shot the pilot. It's called The Gentleman's Club. It was just like basically like just dick bags and suits.
Sure.
You could have called it that.
Yeah.
And they didn't pick it up. And then from there, it was just like a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And so I don't think I embraced hosting as a career. Like I believed I was going to be able to do something as a personality for probably a year after that. It was somewhere in 2015 that it started to click. But I was taking improv classes. Andrew Guy and I, we did improv together. We had the show Gotham's Finest. We joked about that before. And then I got started after Ghost TV. And yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because traditional hosting, like red carpet hosting or any of that stuff,
Right.
if you're just going to be a person that holds a microphone and you can be anybody, there's not a lot of career there. That career is kind of gone. But if you can turn that into relationships into content, you create content people enjoy, that's where the career is.
Yeah.
That's the part that takes the time. So you have to be willing to really sink and invest that time into that and double down on the shit you love to make sure that the people that are watching can tell. Because I think at the end of the day, I know I'm somebody who really enjoys content, right? So if I watch somebody doing something and I think, I can do that, and I can do it just as easily as they're doing it, and their skill level makes me feel like, but I don't really care watching them. But if you're watching somebody, you're like, I can tell this person is an expert. They know way more about this than I could ever learn if I read for a year, right? Not only that, but they're articulating it perfectly. Like, I am such a fan of what this person's doing. Their humor, it's so off the cuff. I'll come back to this.
Right.
You have to create this. You have to legitimately create the backlog of information in your brain about something and the ease with which to talk about it so that the audience will not just feel like you're a fraud and they can do what you want to inspire people, but you don't want to feel like you're an imposter.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense because I've noticed a lot, especially in the modern age where it seems like everyone has a podcast, everyone has a voice, and it's so easy to get your voice out there on social platforms. What was it like? I kind of want to touch on Collider and the Schmoedown because I feel like that's when you and Andrew at least started to really embrace like the character aspect.
Yeah.
And I remember when Action Industries first started, when we had our video phone call, I was saying how like people are drawn to character and like you guys get that.
Yeah.
What was that aspect like? Did you notice like a big shift in your following, like a big jump once you started doing work with the Schmoedown and really embracing that like personality aspect rather than just a guy on the red carpet? You really had that like the boss character was coming out, but it would also bleed into like action movie.
Right.
How did that like impact your career with hosting?
Well, there was this big moment in my career, I remember. It was 2016, and I was working for AfterBuzz TV. It was a year before the Schmoedown. And I had done this interview, these 2 red carpet interviews back to back, with an actress named Alicia Debnam-Carey.
Okay.
She's on Fear the Walking Dead. Alicia. She's got a show called The 100. And The 100 is in its last season, and it was the first show I ever covered for AfterBuzz TV. On The 100, she played Lexa. She was a princess, like a warrior princess. She was amazing, super tough, badass, LGBTQ character. She has a relationship with Clark, the other female lead of the show, and it was this big moment. So everybody wanted to kind of know about these characters. Right as this was happening, they killed off the character Lexa on the show. This giant backlash.
Right.
Because there's this whole trope in TV called barrier games, where basically gay characters are killed to further the storylines of straight white male characters.
Sure.
And so it just so happened that I interviewed Alicia twice in 2 weeks, right at this time. I covered the red carpet for Fear the Walking Dead at Paley Fest, and then also for the premiere. And I got involved in a Facebook group for fans that wanted to know what she thought about this. And they had been raising money for her for a charity called the Trevor Project.
Sure.
At the time it had happened, they had raised $110,000 in this charity fund.
Wow. Yeah.
For the Trevor Project, in her name. So I remember I told her this on the carpet, and she lit up like a Christmas tree. And I remember at that point I had about 900 Twitter followers, and I took a picture of that and I tweeted it, and in 8 seconds it had 640 likes. There was such a hunger for content about this person.
Yeah.
I gained 6,000 Twitter followers in 2 weeks off of these interactions, and for a period of time, because I would always describe myself as an ally, certainly. Like I'm extremely open-minded. I have tons and tons of gay friends in Seattle, and I was never ever somebody who felt prejudice, but I became this person for a short time. Like a ton of people from my community were sort of confiding in and talking to. And it was crazy because I wasn't totally qualified. I was like kind of a newer host,
Right.
and it certainly wasn't a cause that I had been like super behind. It just was one that I easily slid into because it felt pretty comfortable. And so I remember that year I had this huge jump in social following, and then it started to drop, obviously, because like I wasn't just doubling down on content.
Right.
And there was this whole entire thing with another journalist who basically was calling it fraud, and I faced a lot of controversy with that. So, long story short, a year later when we started the Schmoedown, I had this meteoric rise in social following in the previous year,
Right.
but it was for the polar opposite. Like, this is like a social issue that's really important.
Yeah.
And I was just playing a dickhead in sunglasses. But I remember when that happened, like, if that thing in the previous year never happened, I think my social following would have probably felt like a completely different ballgame. It would have been the first time I'd ever had something like that happen.
Yeah.
But this thing had happened the previous year, I remember, and this just felt like sort of the next big bump. But it also was the first time I'd gone back to acting. I mean, that's the funny thing about Schmoedown, right? It is acting.
Yeah.
You are actually playing a character.
You're going deeper in your own personality. You're really like
Yeah.
a caricature of who you are.
And it's kind of connected. It's connected in who you are. It isn't who you are, but it's connected. And like, I went to acting school, so here we go. It's not a show.
We'll do a joke out of it.
And I had gone to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts when I was 17. And I hadn't done anything like that. I just really stopped auditioning for anything dramatically when I was like 24, probably 23.
Sure.
So it had been a long time. But it was nice. It was fun. It's funny. And Andrew is completely an actor. That's what he actually does and wants to do with his life.
Yeah.
So for him, it was just, this was a game. This is just another
Golden
game.
opportunity.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. You mentioned, I remember in the 200-minute stream to celebrate 200 episodes of Action Movie Anatomy, when you were shifting into hosting, that you wanted to just like tell people stories, tell kind of people that aren't going to be covered by like every press junket in the world. You did mention a good story about the 100. Is there anyone else in particular where you got to interview them and you weren't expecting to get like a great soundbite out of it, but just the way the interview naturally flowed, you were able to get a really good story and you were able to like publish that out? Is there anyone that comes to mind?
I mean, I think the piece of content that I always come back to is when Andrew and I did the interview with Gavin Connor, and Anthony back in school. It's probably my favorite piece of sort of journalism, whatever you want to call it, but I'm a part of. And Anthony was a friend of ours at that point. I had met him working at the bar. I think I told the story on the stream maybe, but just randomly he was happy with Warrior. I was waiting on we became friends. And so when he brought in Gavin, some of the stories he told about Warrior, specifically, and the one off camera at the end of his face, I told that story a lot of times.
Yeah.
That has always really stuck with me. That was really important. My friend Ricky was also on the 100. He got killed off in the show around the same time. And he went later on. He's now stars in American Gods. He's with Shadow Movies, the character on the show. And when they killed him on the show, I had done an interview with him about the year before. I brought him back on because he wanted to basically tell the story of what really happened behind the scenes. And that interview was pretty nice. That went viral and we got a lot of press. That one always stuck with me just because, it was a relationship I had. I got to meet Ricky, and he wanted to tell the story to me. He reached out to me on Twitter and said, I'd like to do this interview. Can you do this?
Yeah.
So that one was another one that was really special. And then, you just have like sort of the various ones on carpets. I remember an interview with Ray Romano a couple years ago for The Big Sick. He was the first famous person I'd ever seen in LA, period. He was at a sushi restaurant when I was visiting acting schools when I was 16. And he got up from the table we went to sit down at. And I remember at the time, I was like, that's a famous person. It's Ray Romano.
Shatters your world.
Yeah. And so then when I got to meet him and tell him that story, it was cool because he remembered exactly the restaurant, and so then he was great to talk to. Kevin Smith, I got 25 minutes with him a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That was terrific. Again, because I had read this book called my first movie when I was 12, I think, and it was a series of interviews, about 20 pages each, from directors about their first film. I was such a Kevin Smith fan, so this interview they did about Clerks. Probably read it 50 times in middle school, and that's how I remember meeting him. And there was this book I'd been told. We were excited about that. That was cool. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because having done it now for as many years as I have, I think there was ones at certain times that felt like they were really big to me, that affected me in a lot of ways.
Sure.
And then if I was to go back and try to watch everything, I'd probably connect with them in a different way now. Because I don't remember them all offhand. So many red carpets.
Yeah. You touched on like meeting Ray Romano and it being like kind of a starstruck moment because it's the first time you meet like a celebrity. When you first started with hosting, did you ever get that kind of feel where it's like, this is a career where I'm literally meeting famous people and getting to like talk to them and have sit down conversations? Did you ever get to a point, at least at the beginning, where you were starstruck and you found that you got a lot more comfortable as you went? Or was it always just like a job where you were like excited to do it, obviously, but you weren't like looking at these people like they were larger than life as you would on TV?
Definitely larger than life at first.
Okay.
Definitely. It's hard not to. I mean, but I lived in LA for a while at that point. I'd already been in LA for over 5 years, so
yeah, you know the lifestyle.
Yeah, and you see people, and whether it's like just seeing James Vanderbeek at a party, which is like pretty, I don't know what level that is, but so like, Jessica Alba being in the car next to you and like a stoplight or something. Like that's what happens when you're there long enough. You end up at enough parties or things like that, and you just kind of meet people that. I think when I started, I mean, there are moments for sure, right? Like, so there are moments that I can remember where I was doing something early on, and I would like look around and sort of be like, "Oh yeah, this is one of those parties you hear about." A few years ago, I sat down. I got to have like a dinner conversation with Sly Stallone. I think again, I told this story before on the show, but
I might have missed this one because I'm not as familiar with it. But
yeah, and it was at a party, and Sly and Adam Carolla were at the table.
Oh wow.
2 wives, and I was just the 5th person. My friend whose party it was like, I was like, man, isn't that cool over there? What would you give to be at the table? And he was like, get her plate of food, go sit down. You should do it. I said, trust me. And so I did, and I went and sat down, and I'll bet you I said 8 words in 45 minutes. It was mostly the 2 of them talking.
Right.
And I was just listening, and but I definitely remember like that moment and thinking like, I'm gonna be in this business a long time, doing a lot of different things, and if I'm extremely rich and very famous, as rich and famous as this guy, this would still mean just as much to me.
Yeah.
It'll never not mean shit to me because I love those stories, I love those people. Like that is truly what it is for me. It's what it has always been about for me. It's like I'm the biggest fan of the things that I love. Right? I'm the absolute biggest fan in the world. Like my whole world revolves around the things that I ingest, that I find special. Which is why this career spoke to me so much. Is getting to ask a question to somebody you love about something that they've done. You have no idea. I wanted to ask about the Sweetest Victory from Rocky IV, the Touch song he curated for the movie that like, never even made it to the movie because I've sung it so many times. Like those are the questions I want to ask. I wasn't going to do it, obviously, but. I could talk to any of these guys who have done work that I love for hours. Usually, in a press situation, you're getting 2-3 minutes on a carpet.
Yeah.
So it's like you just try to take advantage of those moments and remember that, like, because what my friend said to me afterwards, he was like, "Stuff you'll remember when you're like, that's what you got to think about in life." You went and sat down, get another slice of lunch. He's right.
Yeah. It's awesome. That's what kind of draws me to the broadcast world and the hosting world. Is it always seems like it's refreshing, You're never really going to have a boring day because you're constantly just getting new opportunities and stuff. And speaking of new things, I mean, we can talk about action industries because it's fairly new. What was that mentality like when you and Drew decided you were going to launch something like that? Because even though it is still in its early stages, I feel like it's a big step for your career because, I mean, look at where we are now.
Yeah.
To be able to do a live show, cover the red carpet, only 6 months into existence. What was that conversation like when you were deciding this is something we can actually do as our own brand? We don't need to be under an umbrella anymore. We can essentially create our own and then open up opportunities for a lot of other people.
Yeah, I think our conversation about that was pretty simple too, right? It was like at a certain point, these shows are all going to end, whether it's because the companies go under or because they don't want to house your show anymore or fans from the show move on to something else because what you're doing isn't interesting anymore. You have to have somewhere that's yours. These people that have gotten to know you can go.
Yeah.
That you have control over. Because at the end of the day, like we've been actually looking at for hundreds of episodes. I don't know if we'll make it to 300 episodes. I don't know if it's going to happen. If we don't, who knows? Maybe we launch something on Popcorn Talk and maybe it works, but maybe it doesn't. You don't know. You don't want to be off that network and have the people that never subscribe or follow you just be gone. You've worked really hard to kind of maintain that familiarity with those people. It's really important. So I think that was one part of it. And then another part was just like, we could feel that there was this community. We knew that the Action Army was special. I think we could really feel that there was a lot of people that really were invested in our growth, that wanted to be a part of it. They felt like we were a part of something that was growing.
Yeah.
The Action Army was started on Facebook. Right? Yeah, Action Army was like Arena. I wish I could remember who started. It was like Arena, somebody else in there.
The name sounds familiar. I was a late joiner,
Yeah.
essentially, because I was more of a Schmoedown viewer rather than like a fan, and that kind of obviously as time went on. But yeah, no, once the following was there, we just kind of put it on another level.
Yeah, and I remember that group got to 1,000 people pretty fast, and none of the other Schmoedown groups had done it. I think that's a big part of what it is, right? It's, Team Action came in 2017, and we really embraced the character stuff. A lot of the stuff that we have done in the last 2 years is stuff that I feel every competitor or every Schmoedown personality or pro could have done.
Yeah.
It just didn't. They didn't start the Patreon. They didn't start doing their own live streams. They didn't start their own channel. They didn't do a live show. It's all stuff that's available to people. We just see it as like, this is what we want to do. So if we're here and doing it and the opportunity's there, let's double down. Let's create something that people want to be a part of. And I think the live show was a pretty good testament to what we created. Like, you have people there that aren't necessarily action fans. People there that think we're total dicks.
Yeah.
But they like what we do. They like
Yeah, they're drawn to the character.
Yeah.
Was there any factor involved in at that time the Schmoedown storylines? We had the action, Team Action Civil War, and so you guys were kind of breaking up as a team and going your separate ways. And then Action Industries started in February, I believe. That Drew putting you through the table was December, I want to say.
Yep.
So did that factor in of like, all right, if we're not going to be a team anymore, the Schmoedown at least, we have to keep that following going and still tell people, because there are some people who don't realize there's the characters or the people behind that do their own content stuff. Did that ever factor in of we need to keep putting content out together because some people won't see us together anymore
Yeah, I mean, I walked into Mark Fernandez's office, I remember, and I said, hey man, we've been talking about doing something here at Collider for a while, but we should be starting something that is tied to the Action brand before Schmoedown is not on Collider anymore, because people don't see us here. So that's what the Action guys was we just want to do something here that has the brand Action. And obviously doing a show for Collider was exciting, but that was sort of the pitch. Was I think the time is right to do this.
Yeah.
And Drew and I worked really well together, so we always knew, and that's why we've done those behind-the-scenes reactions for so long. We just know, if you like the Schmoedown, you'll follow the story, you'll buy into the kayfabe. If people go outside, it doesn't really matter, because until the Schmoedown exists in the world, they can pay us all $250K a year.
Yeah.
We're all going to have to just do other stuff. We're not the WWE yet, so we were going to keep doing AMA. We knew that. We were going to keep doing behind-the-scenes stuff. We knew that.
For sure.
And I think once we introduced the Patreon, that was about a year and change ago. It was probably a year and a half ago almost. I think we realized that if we're going to ask people to support us financially, we needed to be creating more content than one show with a problem.
Yeah.
We need to be expanding. We need to be creating something that you feel like you're a member of. You're a card-carrying member of a membership club, like a subscription service, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it's about for us. It's always looking for a way to create something new and interesting and exciting that people like.
Yeah. When you get those fans, for example, Sorry is one that comes to mind that flies, from Australia.
I believe it's Sunny.
Sunny, yeah. Touchdown in LAX and then gets to New York just for your hour-and-a-half live show.
Yeah.
What's that kind of gut feeling when you see you have a fan base like that? Even if you don't have a million followers, you have a solid core group of 1,000 loyalists, people that will do whatever to support your content, even travel great lengths to be there, or stuff like that. What is that gut reaction? What's that feeling like?
Totally humbling. I mean, one thing about being a content creator that's really interesting, and I experience this sometimes. I have this podcast called Magic the Gathering called An Office of Honor. I started that podcast about 4 months before Action Academy. About 5 months. I joined, it was actually my friend Alex started it, and then I joined 7 weeks later. We've done 240 episodes. But we're one of the bigger Magic podcasts out there, and so I go to big tournaments. You guys can show up these things. And the videos on YouTube get 30, 40, 50 comments, and our Twitter does fine, and I get tweets here and there. And I've done it for so long, it feels like there's a couple fans. When I go to these tournaments, I meet hundreds of fans. I sit down at a table to play a game, and whether it's the person next to me, or across from me, one or all of them has heard of the podcast.
Yeah.
People will often say, wait a minute, say something, and I recognize your voice. You don't realize the number of passive fans. I think that's my point.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you meet the real core fans you're talking about, that's a whole different level of really special, because I mean, those are people who intimately know you. They spend time getting to know your personality, and they want to show you in some way that they're supporting. That's like incredibly small stuff. But those people out there who just like what you do, they listen to 6 episodes of your show and that's it, but they see you and they're like, I like this guy, I'm a fan of this guy. They're kind of the ones that make you realize like the reach when you're a content creator and you do it for enough years and big enough outlets, it's huge. Yeah. It's fucking enormous. I mean, Action Now is watched by like 30 million people at this point on YouTube. Some of the episodes get 600 views. Some of the old episodes have 2 million views. Yeah. And even if 94% of the views on 2 million were like acting on clicks, it's still an enormous number of people. It's still crazy. It's still hundreds of thousands of people in a lot of cases.
Yeah, it's still people that are, that video shows up and are recommended, or it's somehow content that they're interested in. Not a lot of times on YouTube with the current algorithm are you going to get accidental clicks on videos you really don't care.
Right.
So I feel like that's pretty special. Want to touch on like your travel schedule and your hecticness of like always being everywhere. Does that ever like? I'd assume at some points it gets tiring, but like it's got to feel pretty special to be able to travel the world constantly, or at least the States, and just like be in different areas. When that first started out for you, what was that like? Did it feel like it was taking your brand, even if it's beyond like the action guys? Because I know you do a lot of like magic conventions and toy conventions with cosplay and all that. Did that feel like your brand, like your personal brand was taking a step to like another level?
Yeah, it's funny how the toy job was the big change. It was back in 2017, and my co-host Alex on the Masters Mind podcast, he's the CEO of the company, so he started the company.
Right.
And so, and when he started it, I was like, yeah, I'll help you out with this. This sounds great. This is kind of the schedule I can do. This is what I can offer. I'll travel, and the company took off. And, we're now that company is now the number one hula hoop in the world.
There you
go. Some of the other top toys in the spring summer category. It's really growing rapidly, and so I spend a lot of time on the road for that company, and I work same number of hours between the two jobs, between my entertainment career and my career.
Right.
It takes a toll, that's for sure. I mean, I definitely doing all of it together the way I do it. I don't think I can do it that much longer. Like it's maybe another year or two before I got to kind of figure out how to unify my time.
Yeah.
I have pretty bad health. My back is sort of falling apart, so traveling on airplanes all the time is pretty tough. But on the whole, I mean, I'll fly 130,000 miles this year. It's crazy. It's everywhere. It's like I've never been to most of the states that I've been to. I've never been to Hong Kong. It's like, I've never stayed in so many hotels in my life. Yeah. I don't know. I like to think about life as like you're on a journey and you can't really control the journey all the way. You can control some of it. You can have preferences. But when somebody throws something at you, you got to have the sort of wherewithal to be like, should I grab this and sort of ride it out as part of the journey? And I think, when the opportunities are right, the answer is yes, and that defines a lot of what your life's about, right? Yeah. You trace life so much of the time back to one decision or another that really shapes who you are and what you become. I never thought that I was going to be the vice president of toy company. Right. But I'm 31 and I've done it now for a couple of years. Yeah. I don't know how long I'll do that for necessarily. It's a great company. I'm very proud to be part of it, but it's certainly something I've done now. I don't know if I want to fly 130,000 miles a year, but I've done it, which is exciting. So I think in some ways it just feels like my life has changed. That the toy job isn't necessarily part of the entertainment career, but it's just an additional piece of my life that feels special. Very cool. I'm very proud of it.
Just like 2 questions to essentially wrap up. Where do you see the growth of action industries in 5 years? We'll put it on a 5-year plan. And then as for you personally and professionally, whether that be, red carpets, toy company, traveling, all that, what's kind of your end game? Where do you ultimately want to see yourself?
I think with the 2 brands, Action, there's enough there of a relationship with Drew and I and sort of following. If you look at like what the Schmoes did, and Ellis went on to have a really successful stand-up career. Christian has obviously doubled down on Schmoedown and Schmoes brand. Yeah. I think that's a good sort of template for how we can see this thing growing and getting bigger and bigger like that. Obviously, I'd like to go even bigger. I mean, I want to pitch an action show to a TV network or something like that. I think that'd be really exciting for us. I think we would handle that well. And then personally, I still want to tell people stories. I want longer form interviews. I want the opportunity to create interesting content with people who I really admire their careers, and I want to have enough platform that I can get the guests I want.
Yeah.
So always looking for that opportunity to build that. But I think the next step is finding that thing that makes action industries, whether it's like that honest trailers, that Schmoedown. It's like that thing that you go to the network for. It's special. And we have some pretty cool ideas. We've been working on some pretty fun stuff. You've seen some of the stuff we've been working on recently. Obviously, we put up that fake Nick Cage interview. Stuff like that, where I was trying to just kind of what's funny, what's interesting, what we're not doing, what we can say from. So yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then professionally, in terms of red carpets, do you want to see yourself more obviously, definitely want more of the action industry branded red carpet events. Where do you want to see yourself in terms of hosting in the next 5 years?
I think it's kind of the same, right? Like I think action industries is a big part of that. So the growth of that would sort of give me the opportunity. The bigger the platform, obviously, I want to continue working for bigger and bigger brands.
Sure.
And then, continue working for bigger and bigger brands. And I think probably the other piece of that would be, it would be great to get like a network contract somewhere. Obviously not exclusive, but be able to go and work for a major network so that I was covering only the biggest events. I think one of the big pieces for me, a next goal of my career, is I want the opportunity to be a consistent junket host. I work junkets here and there, and I'll do them a handful, a dozen a year. But I want to be able to be the guy at a network that does the Once Upon a Time Hollywood joke, that gets flown to London for Justice League, that does Aquaman in New York. And I do those jobs periodically, but I want to be just the guy somewhere. And ideally, it would be my own network. Ideally, action industry would be big enough to do that.
Yeah.
But not having to overnight, so working on it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time, Ben. And looking forward to the growth of action industries and the growth of your brand personally. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Luke.
All right.